Hello, Amiga coders. This is PhotonoScoopX again. I've abandoned you for a short while I've been away. I've forgotten just about as much as you have, so I'll have to get myself reacquainted with the source. This is where we were, and I will talk a short while about being system friendly, and then we'll go into dpaint and make some graphics for our demo. Odds are it'll be a logo. Here are the organ load statements. What this does is it enables my oldish assembler version to calculate things like this properly without generating an assembly error. There are also other advantages. The advantage is that if you look at the chip map here, we know that all this memory is free, and so we can use it for whatever we want. And the other benefit is that if you want to reserve memory for screen, you don't have to reserve it. That could take a second or so on 68,000 to assemble, I mean. And hence we just put it here and we clear it, or rather we fill it with random data. This makes it quick and easy if you have an A500 with just 1 megabyte of total memory and 2 drives to work with. While it's always an advantage to have a fast computer for faster assembly times, shorter assembly times, and to have a hard disk to gather all your sources in. For some people, well, back in the old days, you used a boot disk with the assembler on it, and you had a source disk in the extra drive, and you did these things. This is old school. If you have a new school setup, you should definitely get a newer ASM1 version and use the section statements. They will look something like, I've touched on this before. This would replace it, but it would generate this error in this version of ASM1. So don't be afraid to use the section statements, and then of course you would replace this with a ds.byte, whatever screen size you use, for example, something like that, and you'd be set. There are some other parts of this source that I would like to fix up, but I'll do that in a later tutorial. For example, this simplification of putting the state of certain hardware registers in data registers. It's sickening to me, but of course it makes things more concrete for the beginner. You would store these values on the stack instead, and you would fetch them from the stack when you exit the program. Just to touch on this briefly, the stack is a growing. It's the buffer. It's a growing buffer where programs store their data. The default stack size is 4 kilobytes, and that's usually enough for almost anything except ray tracers and fractal generators, because they use recursion a lot. So that's basically it. Let's look at what we do here. We get the exec base, we open the graphics library, we fetch the original copper pointer. This is the minimum requirement to restore the display that you see, and when we're done and close the library, being good boys, and save a few hundred bytes of memory. After that, we initialize some data registers and fetch the values of the interrupt. No, sorry. Oh, my God. After that, we fetch the initial state of the DMA-con and some other stuff. We wait until the frame has ended, which is a good thing because when we set the DMA, we want to set it between frames in the vertical blank. We fill the screen with random data taken from the ever-increasing raster register, raster position register, I should say. We enter the main loop where we move the scan line up and down and move the sprite, and on exit we restore the registers. That's basically the broad outline of our demo. Let's run it. And it looks like shit. Why not get some decent graphics in there? Let's do it. I have these amazing shortcuts. And I have no idea how many colors I want. What the hell? Let's try 4. I would like to make a proposal to you that you should explore these other modes. The high-res mode, the low-res interlace mode, and the high-res interlace mode. Curiously misnamed in Deluxe Paint, but anyway. We'll keep things simple and use the low-res mode. Now, if you're totally unfamiliar with Deluxe Paint, I should tell you that you have a great time before you, because there's nothing that is so relaxing and so enjoyable than just sitting around and messing with Deluxe Paint. I don't know why. Maybe it's because you are not working with layers and gradients and stuff, but you, well, it's more hands-on, I guess. Here's your tools: stipple, freehand, line, curve, fill, spray paint, filled and unfilled rectangles, filled and unfilled ellipses, circles, filled and unfilled ellipses, filled and unfilled, I guess, polygons? Well, what do you know? Here's some other exotic tools, and here's the text tool. Press escape to exit. And here you can make symmetries. This zooms in on a selected portion. You can use the shift plus comma and shift plus period keys to zoom in and out. And the short key for this is M, as in magnifying glass. I will use mostly the shortcut keys on the keyboard because that's for me what makes Deluxe Paint so direct and enjoyable and fast and nice. Here's the undo button. The shortcut for that is U, not Control plus Z. So anyway, let's clear the display. The shortcut for that is Shift K, I believe. Let's try that. Shift K, yeah. Okay. Okay, if you want to have the full area available for drawing and lose the menus and the tools and the brush sizes and the palette selector, you press F10. You toggle those menus with F10. I can't show you that right now because my recording software is using that function key as well. Anyway, to do this, I'll have a look at the inspiration for the logo. I'm going to draw a logo with the group name Sky, which is just because I found an album cover which had a nice logo design, and I'm going to try to mimic that. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna need another palette. The plan for this is to make it in 3 colors and then add a copper shade to mimic the color shade of the original logo. I'm lucky that I have something to start from, but I recommend looking at metal band album covers and all kinds of things as inspiration for logos, because these guys, well, some of the bands got the best artists to make airbrush paintings and stuff for their album covers. And of course there's the Pink Floyd covers that are famous, and other groups that had just as nice covers. And a recent one is the group called Pretty Lights, which has some pretty amazing album covers as well. So here we go. I'm going to change the background color first of all to some medium gray perhaps. And I changed the wrong color. You click the color there, and the first color is the background color always. And you can't count these among the colors that you're using. That is, if you're using 2 bit planes, you're using 4 colors, but not really, because you need a transparent color, and that then becomes the background color, as in this case. That was pretty nice. So the other color is near white, and there's a near black. I like this level for blacks. It's nice. And some medium color. And the way to make this, the palette colors are rendered vertically in columns like this. So that means that this is color 1, color 0, this is color 1, this is color 2, this is color 3. And to make color 2, the middle color between color 1 and color 3, you select color 1, for example, and then you spread that color to color 3, and you see the color 2 change there. You've just made a sort of gradient in the palette between the white and the black. And that's about it. I will use color 2 for anti-aliasing. And here we go. To use the line tool, you press V, and to lock the cursor vertically or horizontally, you press the Shift key. So let's first, well, I'm just gonna wing it here. We're gonna make the S. I don't care about the size right now. And here's a pixely slope that we will have to anti-alias later. Something like that. We're just making the outlines here. To make sure these two align, I press Shift R for drawing rectangles, you know. But I clear a rectangle instead, holding the right mouse button. This gives the background color. Oh, there we removed a pixel from the top shelf. So I went back 1 pixel and released the right mouse button. Let's continue. Selected the line tool. Shift. I have no idea how high this should be. I will erase this and use the B command to cut out bob with the left mouse button, and I rotate it with the Z button. And I slipped. Get a good mouse. And this then enables us to connect this and this to make an S. So the S is done. Here we go. S and a K. Last thing. Just so you don't think I'm creating something here, I'm using a picture to the outside the recorded window. And what I did there was hold shift to align these. And the width should be the same, of course, so I press B, copy the width, and pull that down with shift. And that's how wide the K should be. And again, well, here we could actually mirror that. So we'll use the bob command, copy this area, and you flip it vertically with the Y key, flip it horizontally with the X key. Actually, well, no, we can't. We'll align that, hold shift, and pray that we are straight under the above copy. Let's check that with the shift key. No, we were not. We have to move it 1 pixel to the left, like that, and connect those. What have we done? Oh, that's wrong. This lower edge should of course be aligned with the bottom, like that. What I did then was hold the right key to not copy the area but cut it out. It's comparable to Control X instead of Control V if you're familiar with copy paste commands. So this is sort of a K, and the middle of it is sort of there. I held shift there, and I'll just connect those like that. So that's our K. It's not quite right, is it? I'll shift R and right mouse button and clear that. Actually, first I will place a dot where to aim, and then I'll delete my mistake. Much easier. Something like that. That'll have to do, and then the Y is shaped, it's folded into the contour of the K. So we'll have to copy the slope there and actually put it with the same character offset or distance between the characters. Something somewhere around there, I think. And of course now we have a gap here that we have to delete. If you want to zoom in, you use the magnifying glass or M, and you can use, as I said, the shift comma and shift period keys to zoom in and out. I need to go to bed soon. I accidentally the scroll wheel then, which has no effect in Amiga, and I'm completely aware of that. The Y continues like this, something like this. And again, we'll have to, whoops, I have to erase that. Here's the gap in the fork of the Y, and this should be removed. And here's the other other part of the Y, and here's a ledge. That was too much, actually. There you go. And we should use this same slope. Tell you what. Now, this is pretty lame to do it like this. In the olden days, you'd actually that doesn't seem right, and yet it must be. Well, the eye is always right. I was about to say that in the old days, I used overhead plastic, you know, the kind of plastic that you use for overhead lectures, things of this sort. I drew my logo on that from a pencil sketch I'd made on paper, and then I taped it to the monitor, same monitor that I still have, by the way, and just traced it using this line command. But I wasn't that smart this time. Hey. Now looks about right. So we have a logo contour. Let's place it in the middle just for fun. Now this will be filled with a vertical gradient that we will do with the copper. The top edges of the logo will be this white color, and the bottom edges will be the black color, and the background will be something like this gray. That's my design plan anyway. And we'll use this medium color for anti-aliasing. So the normal thinking is that light always emanates from the top left. That's the most natural angle for the light to fall on. Anything for the eye and brain to perceive it as having a sort of a beveled quality. It's strange, but it's also a fact. So let's succumb to this and make the these top edges remain black. I'm sorry, white, and make the bottom edges black, and these medium ones will have to be either white or black in order for the anti-aliasing to work. So how do we color these? Well, there are a number of options. A common one is to use the stencil mode, but I feel that's a little bit advanced. I'm going to show you a much simpler shortcut, and that is to just decide where the black edges start and stop, and then fill the edges. First of all, well, hang on. Well, it'll still work. We'll fill the logo with this medium gray. What I did was press F, select this color, and click inside the outlines. And what we'll do is select this color, and again, either select line mode or stipple mode, whichever mode you fancy, and just put a few pixels here and there, and let the fill tool do the rest. Or it would actually be quicker if we just use the line tool and retrace the lines. But you have to be careful, because when you draw a line, it makes a difference whether you draw it from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. You get a different, slightly different set of pixels for the slope, and that's just the way it is. Either way, let's go ahead and do this and say that the bottom and right edges will be black. Fill that. I missed one there. It's gotten a kind of uridium-esque relief there. And we're basically done with the S. Let's go on. Do I sound tired yet? Actually, 45-degree slopes always get the same set of pixels for it. And this will be a bit of work to do. Either way, that reminds me that this should be some form of medium gray. And so should this. Apart from that, it's all hunky-dory. And let's go ahead and fill that. Oops, wrong color. And as you can see, you have to do it this way, so I'm going to try to just draw a line here. It'll be quicker. Just check that it matches up. And for this mirrored one, we'd have to draw it from the bottom up, like that. Okay. Oops, we have one edge here. And we fix the little corners here. You'd have to use your eye to guide you what looks good. There we go, something like that maybe. Okay. The K is done. And tell you what, I'm going to use the line tool because I think I remember which. Oh, I thought I remembered what direction I drew that in. Obviously not. Nothing matches. Did I draw it from there? No. Did I draw it from there to there? No. Let's try that. No. Nothing works, so just do it the good old-fashioned way. That takes care of that. And why not just set a pixel and fill that and see how it goes. Well, it doesn't go beyond that. Sure the hell hope this slope is correct, otherwise I'll just replace it. It's too much work filling those in. Well, what do you know? Lucky for once. Actually, I might even round these corners like that. When I'm doing this, to clear pixels you just right click, and to use the current color you just left click. That doesn't look good, does it? That's because the fill color is brighter than the background color. It's not, well, anyway. Something like that. Here we have a bug. And this works because there's a white pixel next to it. When there's only black pixels, then of course it looks just brighter and wrong. Again, that looks right because there's a white pixel next to it. I'm going to round that off. And round that off. So we have something that looks decent. So the next step is to anti-alias these colors, but I can't really do that with well, the problem we've encountered is that the fill gradient is too bright. It needs to be darker than the background color, so let's correct that. Actually, I like this blue cyan thingy, and it's also pretty close to the gradient we're gonna do, so I'll try that and see how it goes. Now if it works in this corner, it will work for anti-aliasing. Well, it's barely visible, is it? How about we... Well, it needs to be, the anti-alias color needs to be between this color and the background color, naturally, if we are to anti-alias anything. So let's check the values here. 667, 333, and that makes it that one. Either we have to change the, well, hang on. I can't anti-alias this because some of the edges are like this, white, bright, and so the anti-alias color needs to be between white and the background color, and some are between black and the same background color. So unless I up the number of colors, I can't anti-alias this. So what do we do? There's no choice but to change the screen format. To do that, you go here and you up the colors. And suddenly you get a bunch of random colors to choose from. So what we need is a white to background and a black to background anti-aliasing color, and we'll keep this color as it is for now. So we have suddenly double the amount of colors, lots of colors to play with, so just copy that to there and copy the black color to, hang on, well, okay, let's do that, and copy the background color to here, and no, sorry, oh, okay, that works, and spread it to the black color. Now the problem is spreading the background color to the white color, so we'll have to wing this a little bit. This either way is the anti-aliasing color for the dark edges, and this color must be somewhere between white and the background color. So the white is 14, 14, 14. Background color is still 667. So that puts the anti-aliasing color at somewhere around 11 for all values. Let's do that. And I usually pull the unused colors to pink just to signify that they're unused. There we go. Now we have some extra colors, and let's anti-alias this logo. We have these other levels as well that we can try to use if things don't look good. Is that better? Ooh, I just realized we need an anti-aliasing color here as well. It's just trouble anti-aliasing, isn't it? Much easier to have pixely things. However, the fill color will be, well, it will look like crap. Why did I start this project, this tutorial anyway? I don't know how to do this. It's just crap. Hold on while I gather my wits. Okay, so I needed a 2-minute break to gather my wits and stop the whining. If you're a real man, you just go on and show it how it's done. So the problem that we have here is that since we're going to have a gradient inside the logo, hopefully, there will be a problem because the fill color up here will be different from the fill color down here, and any anti-aliasing we do on the inside of the logo will match perhaps at some point on this gradient, but not all the way along it. So the decision was made to make the gradient a weak one, and to perhaps use the two unused colors for extra anti-aliasing colors as the need arises. So let's continue with anti-aliasing the outside of the line. The thought is, well, the thinking is that, you know, as you can see by anti-aliasing it, it became a little bit thicker, this line, so that on the inside we will have to, instead of adding colors on the outside, we'll have to replace colors on the inside. That may or may not look good since the colors are so very close here. It's pretty much all medium gray, both inside and outside. We might do better if we make this a bright red. Well, bright. That's the trouble with a sort of limited red, green, blue palette. On the PC you have all kinds of values for these, so that you can make the very nice and subtle gradients as you please. But with these levels you have to be a little more careful. That's too bright. Let's lower that down. Actually, that is sort of kind of the level I want. It's a little bit too saturated. Something like that, maybe. Ooh, let's see. Gray and oranges like each other, however, I think if I use orange, I'll use it as an accent color. So anyway, this is the fill color then. I see that the white is a little bit bright, so probably have to lower that. As you can see, as soon as even if you just change one level here, it's a huge step in intensity. So I guess that's about right. No, that looks like crap. Okay, let's use that, and we have to modify this by one level maybe. Let's check it. You can move this palette window to see if that checks. No, well, that was to the outside, so it doesn't matter. Let's continue with the anti-aliasing on the outside. These are 4 pixels high, so I add 2 pixels anti-aliasing. These are 3 pixels high, so I add just 1. There's a better way to do this, which I hope to show you. Something like that. That just looks like a shadow, doesn't it? So we need to raise that a little bit. Well, that just faded into the background, didn't it? So let's change it back. Maybe add blue. Something like that. That we'll need another level here. I can tell already. However, we can't do that because we need these unused colors for the insides. So nothing doing but just fiddling around a little bit. See how it looks. Actually, I think I will instead raise this color. Well, sorta, kinda. Still looks like a shadow. Don't know what I can do about that. I'll keep that for now and see if it looks better when we do the insides. So to do the insides, we would need to spread this color to this red color for the shadowed edges. So if you had more colors, you could temporarily go into 16 color mode and do this. Let's do that. And suddenly I get the spidey sense tingling again, because when we go back to 8 colors, it may want to select and remap colors on its own when it reduces colors. So let's do it manually. Go into the palette with P, and let's look at that. 556, 833. I have no idea. Well, what you do is you take the red color, which is 5, and you take the red color of this, which is 8. And the middle of that is not evenly, but it's 6 or 7, so let's put it at 7. And I changed the wrong color, I think. No, okay. Let's go back. This level is for green is 5. For this one it's 3. So the middle between that is 4. Pretty simple. And this is the blue component is 5. The blue component of this is 3, so again a 4. So this is the anti-aliasing color between that color and the red color. While we are in here, we can do the same for these colors. And actually, that's I lowered that, but it's too, well, there's a choice to be made here. What looks good? That looks pretty good, actually. So again, the red component is 9. Here it is, 11. So drag that to 10. No, 13 and 9. So 13, 9, and 11. That's okay. Green component, 9 again, 13 again, 11 again. Okay, so it seems I accidentally F10 again. But it's all good and well. It saved you a lot of talk about anti-aliasing. This is the sort of kind of pretty good result, I guess, with some corner rounding. I ranted a little bit about pixels that are close in level or in, well, brightness level or lumosity or value, whatever you call it, will tend to float together and look like a gap. For example, for the rounding of this corner, I expect to be able to use to go from this color to this to this to this. However, that looked like this, meaning it floated together and looked like a gap because this color and this color is so close together. So you have to be selective when you place your pixels when you anti-alias, and that's about it. Now you can cut this out like a bob, or as Deluxe Paint likes to call it, a brush. Maybe it's just me calling it bobs. I don't know. Either way, they are small or big graphic objects that you can move around on the screen. You can save this as a brush, and the IFF conversion to binary format will be easier, but just for demonstration purposes, I will skip this for now and save this as under this name in our folder there. And as you can tell, I already saved it. Doesn't matter, we're done in Deluxe Paint. And we're going to add this logo to our demo, add copper shade inside the logo that must not differ very much from this medium color in order for the anti-aliasing to look good. And now we will convert it from IFF to RAW. We start the IFF converter by Kefrens with a small fix. By Hornet, this version is on Aminet, so just go download it. And what you do first of all, well, first you're told that it has allocated memory. That's very kind of you. And instead of loading the file from the floppy drive, we go to where we saved it. Beware to put a slash behind the directory name. You read the directory. The one reason why I like this is because it doesn't require a lot of libraries. It works right out of the box, and also has a lot of nice options for coders. Now here's our logo. Let's load that. You have to click on it first and then click load. And here's our logo with the correct palette and everything. As you can see, you have a crosshair. We will use this. I'll use this to demonstrate how you can repeatedly cut out and save different parts of a Deluxe Paint drawing. For example, if you're picking out bobs, you can use this to save them under different names. Very, very handy In our case, we just have the one object to cut out. So in some versions you have to right click to get this crosshair. In some versions you don't. Either way, when you have the crosshair, you just press the left mouse button and drag to cut it out, and you get nice little 16 pixel boundaries here that will guide you when you're trying to cut out sprites, for example. Also, it will tell you how wide the logo is in terms of the number of words. So this is the exact width of our logo. 178. Let's see that we don't have any pixels sticking out of the rectangle. No, I think we're done. And that's it. So we know the size of our logo now, and we're going to, well, there are a bunch of options here. Here's the palette options. You can either save the palette with the binary, or you can put it before the image or after the image in the binary file, or you can omit it. We will do the latter because I want to save the palette as a copper list for easy inclusion in our source. Okay. We loaded this as an IFF file. We toggle this through all kinds of formats. This is the binary format with the bitplanes, one bitplane after another. This is the so-called interleaved format, where one line consists of 3 bitplanes in our case, one after another, and then comes the next scan line, and we will use this later on. I'll just show you the outline, which is good for cutting out outlines. Well, if you draw a bunch of bobs or characters in the font, you can enable this outline mode and cut out the entire font or all the bobs and get a nice 1 bitplane outline to use for masking. You can save as 4 color sprites or 16 color sprites, or you can save just the palette as a copper list. We will use this interleaved format for now. Now, if we press save, it will overwrite our Deluxe Paint picture. We don't want that. Well, I don't want that. So I will give it some form of intelligent name that will enable me to use it wisely later. And press save. And also we want to save the copper list for this under another name again. Copper.s. And there we go. That's a very small file. That's just the 8 colors that we used in our picture, and we're done. And we can press the quit, or you can press this. If you use the protractor, you might click up here to exit. However, it doesn't work in here. So just a small thing. This version has the benefit of also putting everything you write in the file box in the shell window. It's never been a problem for me, but anyway. And if we take a look now, we have a copper list and the binary version of our logo, as well as our IFF picture. To use this, you just this copper comes in the form of a source, so that we can just incorporate it in our copper. So instead of setting our colors somewhere down here, let's see, well, let's have them as default colors. Somewhere here. Logo pal. Let's include that. What do we call it? Sky.copper.s. And there's our colors right there. I won't bother with prettifying the code right now. And to include the binary version of our logo, we have to add it here, of course. Include binary. We called it sky.178 by 67 by 3. And I like to put, well, I like to put an end tag on everything I include. That's up to you. It's not necessary. It's useful for checking the size of things. So there we go. And nothing really has changed except perhaps the background color. Well, not really. We set it a few scan lines lower down to this medium blue color. So we're all set, basically. Now, how do we get this logo displayed? Right now we have garbage in between the scan lines, in between the top and bottom borders. Well, first of all, we might want to move this down to after the top border. That'll at least change some colors on the screen. And where do we do that? Well, here I think. We remove that with Control Delete. And also we need 3-bit planes on, but I'll wait for that for the next tutorial. Just to show you that now we have that medium gray color that we used. We need to reset that behind the logo, but that's a problem for the next tutorial, I think. So, welcome back to the next tutorial, and I will show you how to display a logo instead of garbage on the screen. Exciting.